Hey, everyone, and welcome. Get ready, because we're about to take a deep dive into the Brahma Sutras.
Oh, yeah, the Brahma Sutras.
We're going to unpack this foundational text of Hindu philosophy and try to pull out the key insights.
Sounds good.
So that by the end of this, you'll have at least a decent understanding of what the Brahma Sutras are all about.
A little crash course.
Yeah, a little crash course.
It's amazing how these Brahma Sutras condense so much wisdom into just 555 these aphorisms.
5.
Called sutras.
Sutras, right?
Yeah, and spread across 4 chapters.
Okay.
These sutras systematically interpret the Upanishads,
Right.
another set of ancient Hindu scriptures.
So they're like a bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Connecting us to the wisdom of these ancient texts.
It's like getting a crash course on ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like to add another layer to that.
Yeah.
The Brahma Sutras are part of the Prasthana Traya,
Yes.
which is the trio of texts that are considered the bedrock of the Vedanta school of thought in Hinduism. Exactly, the 3 most important texts.
Okay, so we're dealing with some heavy hitters here.
Yes.
But before we get lost in the intricacies,
Yeah.
who actually put these sutras together?
So the authorship is attributed to the sage Badarayana,
Badarayana.
also known as Vyasa.
Okay.
But you know what made these sutras accessible?
Okay.
And so influential over the centuries are the commentaries written on them.
Okay.
There's one commentary in particular that stands out, and that's the commentary by the philosopher Sankara,
Sankara.
a leading figure in the Kaivalya school of thought.
Got it.
And his insights have shaped our understanding of the Brahma Sutras for generations.
So we've got these 555 aphorisms by Badarayana,
Yeah.
made even more insightful through Shankara's commentary.
Right.
Okay, but what are they actually about?
Well, at their heart, the Brahma Sutras explore the nature of Brahman,
Which is
the ultimate reality.
the ultimate reality.
Yes, and they delve into the relationship between Brahman,
Okay.
the world around us, and the individual soul.
That's right.
Or is Jiva?
It's like these are the fundamental questions of existence, right? What is reality?
Yeah.
Who are we, and how do we fit into the grand scheme of things?
The big questions.
The big questions.
Yeah.
And it looks like these 4 chapters each tackle a different aspect
Yeah.
of these big questions, right?
Precisely.
Okay.
So chapter 1, known as Samanvayadhyaya, focuses on establishing the unity of Brahman,
Okay.
argues that everything originates from this single source,
Right.
emphasizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Got it.
Chapter 2, the Avirodhataya.
Virodhaya.
It takes a different approach.
Okay.
It delves into other philosophies,
Looks on.
Nyaya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Vaisheshika,
Wow.
and even Buddhism,
Okay.
and challenges their arguments.
So it's not just about presenting its own ideas.
Yeah.
It's about,
Kind of showing how they might fall short
yeah.
and explaining the true nature of reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty bold.
Yeah.
What about the remaining chapters?
Well, chapter 3, Sahanithya
Not a lot of here.
gets practical.
Okay.
It outlines the practices,
Right.
or sadhana,
Okay.
for realizing Brahman.
Okay.
So things like meditation,
Yeah.
self-reflection, ethical conduct.
Right.
It's like a how-to guide for the spiritual seeker.
Okay. Nice.
And then finally, chapter 4, the Phalatya, describes the fruits of achieving self-realization.
Okay.
This is like the ultimate goal, liberation from the cycle of birth and death,
Right.
and the realization of your unity with Brahman.
Wow. That's quite a journey.
It is.
But I always come back to this question, like,
Sure.
what does all this ancient philosophy have to do with us today?
That's a great question.
Yeah, why should we care about these texts
Right?
in our modern lives?
Well, the answer lies in the enduring relevance
Okay.
of the Brahma Sutra's core concepts.
Okay.
It's not just abstract philosophy.
Yeah.
It's about the human quest for meaning and happiness.
Right.
The text emphasizes the pursuit of knowledge and self-understanding as a path to lasting happiness
Right.
and freedom from suffering.
It's what we're all trying to figure out,
Exactly.
how to live life well.
Yeah, exactly. And
Make sense of the world around us.
right, find meaning and all that. And
Yeah.
the Brahma Sutras offer a framework
Yeah.
for understanding our place
Right.
in the universe.
In the universe.
And the concept of Brahman as the source of everything points to like a profound interconnectedness
Right.
between all things.
Yeah.
Something that I think resonates deeply with a lot of what we're learning about the environment today.
Exactly.
And with our relationships with each other.
Absolutely.
Right, that we're all connected.
We are.
And speaking of captivating details,
Yeah.
the source material that we have on the Brahma Sutras
Okay.
includes some stories and analogies
Yeah.
that really bring these concepts to life.
They do.
So, for example, There's a story about Indra, the king of the gods.
Oh, yeah. Who spends 101 years living as a disciple
Wow.
just to attain knowledge.
That's dedication.
Right. It highlights the dedication and patience required on this path of self-realization.
Yeah. 101 years.
101 years.
Yeah.
Talk about commitment.
Yeah.
It puts all of our struggles into perspective.
It does.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then there's this beautiful analogy
Yeah.
of the soul being like a drop of sandalwood paste.
I love that one.
Oh, it's so good.
It is.
So tiny.
Tiny.
But it can fill an entire room with its fragrance.
The whole room.
Right.
Oh.
It illustrates how the soul,
Yeah.
while seemingly small and individual, can still be connected to everything.
Right. So it's both atomic and all-pervading.
Right. It's both at the same time.
At the same time.
Right.
So even though we feel like these separate individuals,
Right.
we're still deeply connected to something much greater than ourselves.
Yes, we are.
Right.
We are.
Okay. And then there's this concept of the soul's journey after death.
So the Brahma Sutras describe the soul traveling to Brahmaloka after death
Yeah.
and taking different paths
Yeah.
depending on the level of knowledge attained during life.
Like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, it's like a choose your own adventure.
Search of the soul.
So it paints this fascinating picture of what might lie beyond our physical existence.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was kind of like a broad overview of
Yeah.
what we're dealing with.
Right.
But I want to dive into some specific passages
Okay.
that caught my eye.
Sure.
One of them was this one about the soul being like a drop of sandalwood paste.
Oh, yeah?
I found that really intriguing.
Yeah.
Can you maybe elaborate on that a bit more?
Of course. So the Brahma Sutras, they use this analogy to explain the paradoxical nature of the soul,
Okay.
or Jiva. It's described as being atomic,
Mhm.
incredibly tiny,
Right.
yet also all-pervading,
Yeah.
connected to everything.
So it's like, how can something be so small
Yeah.
and yet
And yet everywhere.
everywhere? Right.
Yeah. So the sandalwood paste analogy helps us to grasp this concept.
So just like a single drop of sandalwood paste can fill a whole room with its fragrance.
The whole room.
Right.
Yeah.
The soul, while being atomic, can still be present and connected to the vastness of Brahman.
Precisely.
Okay. So it's not that there's literally like many Brahmins,
Right.
but our limited perception makes it seem that way.
It appears that way, yeah. It's just our limited perception.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And that really highlights this theme of interconnectedness
Absolutely.
that runs throughout the Brahma Sutras.
Yes, it does.
And that brings us back to those crucial first 5 adhikaranas in the first chapter.
Right.
Those were like
The foundation.
foundation, right?
Yeah.
The source material really emphasized their importance. What makes them so special?
Well, they lay out the groundwork for everything that follows.
Okay.
The first one tackles the definition of Brahman,
Right.
setting the stage for understanding this ultimate reality. The second dives into the authority of the scriptures,
Okay.
the Upanishads, in revealing the nature of Brahman.
So, like, why are these the sources?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is...
That we should rely on.
Exactly.
Okay.
The third establishes Brahman as the central focus of all Vedantic texts.
Okay.
So, again, emphasizing that this is what we're talking about here.
Got it.
This is the important stuff.
So they're saying, listen up. This is important.
This is important.
And here's why you should trust what we're about to tell you.
This is why you should trust us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the fourth Adhikarana delves into the concept of Brahman being both the efficient and material cause of the universe.
Okay.
So where everything comes from
Yeah.
and what everything is made of.
Okay. And then finally, the fifth one.
The fifth one emphasizes the need to rely on scriptures,
Okay.
not just independent reasoning, to truly grasp the nature of Brahman.
So it's like a combination
Yeah.
of revelation
Yeah.
and reason.
Yeah. To fully comprehend Brahman.
Yeah.
Okay, so those first 5 Adhikaranas
Right.
are essential
They are.
for understanding the core message
The core message
of the Brahma Sutras.
of the Brahma Sutra.
They're like a crash course.
A crash course within a crash course.
Within a crash course. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're strategically placed
Yes.
to set the stage for everything
Everything that follows.
that comes after.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the brilliance
Yeah.
of Badarayana and Sankara.
Yeah. How they structured it so well.
Right. Like to pack so much meaning
Yeah.
into these seemingly simple aphorisms.
Yeah. They're very concise,
Right.
but they're jam-packed with meaning.
It's incredible how much they convey
Yeah.
in such a concise style.
It is.
But what comes after those foundational topics?
Well, the rest of the first chapter continues to delve deeper into the nature of Brahman
Okay,
and its relationship to the world.
got it.
So, for example, it explores whether Brahman can be perceived through the senses,
Oh.
examines the connection between Brahman and the individual soul,
Right.
and analyzes various Upanishadic passages to support its claims.
So it's like a deep dive
Yeah.
into all these different nuances,
Yeah.
using different examples and arguments to build a comprehensive understanding.
Exactly. It's like piecing together a puzzle
Right.
where each piece sheds light on a different aspect of the big picture.
And speaking of analogies,
Yes.
the source material mentioned a few interesting ones
Oh, yeah.
that are used in the Brahma Sutras.
The Brahma Sutras are full of analogies
Right.
to explain these complex concepts.
Like the one about the sun and its reflection in multiple water bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us about that one?
Certainly. So imagine the sun reflecting in many different pools of water.
Oh,
So we see multiple reflections.
right,
But there's only one sun.
right.
So this analogy explains how the one indivisible Brahman can appear as the many individual souls.
So it's not that there's literally many Brahmins.
Yep.
It's our perception.
Our limited perception.
Makes it seem that way.
It could appear that way.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of that saying, we're all drops in the same ocean.
Exactly.
Right, we're all part of this one
reality.
reality.
Yeah.
And this interconnectedness is further emphasized
Yes.
by the concept of Brahman being the material cause
Yes.
of the universe.
Everything is ultimately made of the same essence.
So we're not just connected.
Right.
We're literally made of the same stuff.
We are all made of Brahman.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
Right.
And it can change how we view ourselves, each other, and the world around us.
It challenges us to look beyond superficial differences
Yeah.
and recognize the underlying unity that
Yeah.
binds us all.
It does.
So we've explored some of these really fascinating analogies
Yeah.
that shed light on Brahman
Right.
and the individual soul.
The Jiva.
Right.
Yeah.
But what about this concept of the soul's journey after death?
Oh,
Can you
right.
tell us more about that?
Of course. So the Brahma Sutras describe different paths taken by the soul after death,
Okay.
depending on the level of knowledge attained during life.
Okay.
For those who have realized their unity with Brahman,
Okay.
there's Dhyana, the path of the gods, leading to Brahmaloka,
Right.
the world of Brahman.
It's like the spiritual fast track.
It is the fast track.
Right.
Yeah.
For the enlightened.
Yeah.
But what about those who haven't reached that level of realization?
Well, for those who are still bound by karma
Right.
and the cycle of birth and death, there's Pitriyana,
Okay.
the path of the ancestors
Vitriana.
leading to the moon.
So it's a longer route
It's a more gradual path
to the same destination?
to the same destination, yeah.
Okay.
It involves rebirth until the soul eventually attains liberation.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Not one size fits all.
Journey, right.
Yeah.
It's tailored
It's tailored to the individual.
to the individual's spiritual progress.
Exactly.
I see. So even though it's a longer path, it's still a journey toward realizing our unity with Brahman.
It is a journey towards that unity.
Okay. And the source material also mentions something about the soul taking subtle elements with it on this journey.
Yes. The text suggests that when the soul departs from the body,
Right.
it carries subtle elements
Okay.
that act as the seed for its future embodiment.
So it's like packing for the next leg of the journey.
Exactly.
But these subtle elements aren't random.
Not at all.
Right.
They are shaped by the soul's past karma,
Okay.
the actions and experiences from previous lifetimes.
So it's like a karmic blueprint.
It is a blueprint.
Right.
Yeah.
That carries the imprint of our past choices.
Exactly.
And it highlights this interconnectedness
Yeah.
between our actions and their consequences.
Right. What we do matters.
Right. It's a powerful reminder
It is.
that we're not just passive recipients of
Yeah,
fate,
active participants.
but we are active participants
Yes.
in shaping our own destiny. And the Brahma Sutras emphasize that we have agency.
We do.
Our choices matter.
We do.
And by cultivating self-awareness and ethical conduct,
Yes.
we can influence our spiritual journey.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper
Yeah.
into this concept of the soul carrying subtle elements.
Okay.
The source material mentioned this thing about the soul's journey through the 5 elements.
Oh, yes. The text describes the soul's passage through ether, air, fire, water, and earth.
Okay,
It's like a symbolic representation of the soul's descent
okay.
from pure consciousness into the material world.
So it's a gradual
It's a gradual process
Oh, I see.
of embodiment
embodiment.
where the soul takes on these increasingly denser forms
Right.
as it moves through these elements.
So it's like starting from pure consciousness and then like,
Yeah, and then going through ether,
and then ether, and then
air, fire, water, earth.
Air, fire, water, earth.
Yeah.
It's like a cosmic ladder.
It is a cosmic ladder. Right.
Descending from the spiritual realm into the physical.
Exactly.
And this journey isn't just a one-time event.
It's not a one-time event.
It happens with each rebirth.
Every time.
Right. So the soul moves through the elements upon death.
Upon death.
And then back through them again upon entering a new embodiment.
Life.
Right? So it's like this
back and forth,
this cosmic dance.
A cosmic dance between the spiritual and material realms.
And this dance is guided by the law of karma.
Of course.
Our actions
create ripples
that influence this journey,
Yeah.
shaping the kind of embodiment that we take on
Right.
and the experiences that we encounter.
Exactly.
So the Brahma Sutras emphasize that we're not just passive passengers on this journey.
Right, we're active participants.
We're active participants,
Yes.
co-creating our own reality through our thoughts, words, and actions.
Absolutely.
So we have a responsibility to make wise choices,
We do.
knowing that they will shape not only our journey,
But also the world around us.
our actions have consequences.
Yeah, and the Brahma Sutras teachings on karma and rebirth
Yeah.
encourage us to live consciously,
Yeah.
to act with compassion,
With compassion, understanding,
and
to strive for a life of purpose and meaning.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay.
We'll pick up our deep dive into the Brahma Sutras next time.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue our deep dive into the Brahma Sutras. And I'm really curious to explore how these ancient teachings can be applied to our lives today. You know, like, it's one thing to talk about these big concepts, but how do we actually bring them down to earth and make them relevant to our daily experience?
Yeah.
And one thing that really stood out to me in the source material was this emphasis on ethical conduct.
Oh, yeah.
Even while pursuing liberation.
Right.
It's not about checking out of life.
Yeah.
It's about living it more consciously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Brahma Sutras highlight the importance of ethical conduct, or dharma, as like a crucial aspect of the spiritual journey.
Okay.
It's about aligning our actions with the understanding of our interconnectedness with all things.
So it's not about following rules just for the sake of it.
It's not about blind obedience.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's about creating a foundation for inner transformation.
Yeah, exactly. It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences.
Right.
And that by living ethically, we create a more harmonious world for ourselves and for others.
And the Brahma Sutras actually outline some specific virtues to cultivate.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Things like truthfulness, nonviolence, compassion, self-control, generosity.
And these virtues seem to resonate
They do.
across different cultures and philosophies.
So universal language.
It's like universal language of ethical living.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Brahma Sutras suggest that by embodying these virtues, we purify our minds and we contribute to the well-being
Yeah, absolutely.
and the world around us.
It's a beautiful cycle
It's a beautiful cycle.
of interconnectedness.
Right.
Yeah.
It all goes back to that ripple effect
It's a ripple effect.
we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Our actions impact the entire fabric of existence.
They do. We're not isolated individuals.
Right.
We're integral parts of a vast interconnected web.
Right. And so ethical conduct then becomes a way of aligning our actions with that understanding,
Absolutely.
interconnectedness. But how do we cultivate these virtues in a practical way?
That's a great question. And I think the Brahma Sutras emphasize self-control,
Okay.
or Dhamma, as a really crucial virtue for those seeking liberation.
So self-control, being able to
Yeah.
like regulate
Leave our desires,
our desires.
our impulses, our thoughts.
And the text suggests that that's particularly important
It is.
for those on the path of self-realization.
Yeah, because true happiness and fulfillment don't come from chasing fleeting sensory pleasures.
Right. It's about directing those desires.
It's exactly
With
about
higher purpose.
higher purpose.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that true fulfillment comes from connecting with the deeper truth of our being.
And I think that's where practices like meditation come in.
Absolutely.
Right. Quieting the mind, turning our attention inward.
Yeah, going within.
But how does that lead to self-realization? Like, what are we actually seeking
Yeah, what are we looking for?
in this inward journey?
Well, the Brahma Sutras suggest that through dedicated meditation and self-reflection,
Okay.
we can begin to disentangle our true nature.
Okay.
Our pure awareness.
Okay.
From the layers of conditioning that cloud our perception.
So it's like we're peeling back the layers.
Yeah, like an onion.
An onion.
To reveal the essence within.
To reveal that essence within.
Yeah.
Okay, and this core, or true nature,
right.
is described as pure consciousness.
Pure consciousness.
Bliss and limitless potential.
Limitless potential.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
But this whole process of self-realization.
Yeah. It can feel like a solitary pursuit.
It can.
Does the text say anything about the role of community or guidance on this journey?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because while the Brahma Sutras emphasize individual effort and self-reflection, they also acknowledge the value of guidance from a qualified teacher or guru.
So it's not about going it alone?
Not necessarily, no. It's about finding support and direction from those who have already walked this path.
Right. So it's like having a seasoned guide.
Yeah.
To help us traverse the terrain.
Yeah, to show us the way.
Yeah. What about the role of community, though?
Well, even though the path of self-realization is ultimately an individual journey, the Brahma Sutras recognize the importance of a supportive spiritual community. Being surrounded by like-minded individuals provides encouragement, inspiration, and a sense of belonging.
It's like we need both, right?
The balance.
We need that individual effort, but we also need that support.
Of a community.
Of a community.
And wise guidance. Okay, so we've talked about ethical conduct, self-control, the role of community and guidance. But let's revisit this idea of the soul's journey after death. Because I'm still kind of grappling with all the different paths.
It can be a little confusing.
And descriptions. And one that really caught my eye was this description of Dvayana.
Dvayana, the path of the gods.
The path of the gods.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the source material, there were different ways of describing it.
Oh, absolutely.
What's the significance of that?
Well, the varying descriptions of Dvayana that you find in these different Upanishadic texts reflect the multifaceted nature of this spiritual journey. Some descriptions focus on the role of nadis,
which are
subtle energy channels in the body, while others highlight the soul's progression through different realms of existence.
So it's like different perspectives on the same path?
Exactly. Different lenses through which to view the same journey.
And each offering its own unique insight.
Yeah, each shedding light on a different aspect of this spiritual ascent.
And this diversity or perspectives also reflects the nature of the Upanishads themselves.
Yes, it does. Because they're not a single rigid text. They're a collection of wisdom from different sages and seers.
So it's like a chorus of voices.
Exactly, a chorus of voices.
It's all speaking to this.
To the same truth.
To the same truth.
Yeah.
But from different angles.
From different angles. Okay, so even though there are these variations, they all ultimately point to the same destination.
You do.
Brahmaloka, this realm of pure bliss and liberation.
Exactly, that's the ultimate goal.
But I was struck by this detail that even upon reaching Brahmaloka, the individual soul doesn't attain certain powers.
Oh, right.
Specifically, the power of creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe.
Right, those are the big ones.
Why is that? Well, the Brahma Sutras explain that these particular powers are unique to Brahman, the ultimate reality. And they're not transferred to individual souls, even upon attaining liberation.
So it's like a way of acknowledging the ultimate supremacy of Brahman.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's a recognition that even in our highest state of spiritual attainment, we are still part of a larger cosmic order.
Right.
And there's a recognition of the ultimate source from which everything arises.
Okay, so even in a state of unity, there's still this distinction.
Subtle distinction.
The subtle distinction between the individual soul and Brahman.
Brahman. Yeah.
Okay, that's a really interesting point.
It's the deep concept.
Yeah.
But I think it's an important one to consider.
But let's move on to a different path.
Okay.
Pitrayana, the path of the ancestors.
Pitrayana.
Which is described as the path taken by souls who are still bound by karma.
Who haven't quite reached that level of liberation yet.
Right. Yeah. What happens on this journey?
Well, Pitrayana is described as a journey to the moon.
To the moon.
Where the soul experiences the results of its past actions.
Okay.
Before returning to Earth for rebirth.
So it's not so much about punishment as it is about, like, learning and growth.
Yeah, it's more like a cosmic school.
Okay.
Where the soul gets to learn from its past experiences.
Okay.
and prepare for its next life.
And what happens when the soul returns to Earth for rebirth?
Right.
Does it retain any memory of its past lives?
Well, that's a fascinating question.
It is.
And one that's been debated by philosophers and spiritual traditions for centuries.
Yeah, because if we don't remember our past lives, how do we learn from them?
Right. That's the big question.
Yeah.
So the Brahma Sutras don't explicitly state whether the soul retains conscious memories of its past lives upon rebirth.
Okay.
However, they suggest that the soul carries with it subtle impressions.
Okay.
Or samskaras from its past experiences.
Okay, samskaras, got it.
These samskaras influence our tendencies, our inclinations, and even our life circumstances in our next life.
So even if we don't remember the details of our past lives, those experiences still shape who we are.
They do.
In this life.
In this life.
It's like a hidden script.
Yeah, like a blueprint.
Influencing the course of our current journey.
Exactly.
Right.
It highlights the interconnectedness of our lives across time and space.
So we're not just these isolated beings.
We are not.
Having one life.
Right.
And then it's over.
It's a continuum.
And it's a continuum.
Right.
Right.
Our present life is not just a random occurrence.
Right.
But a continuation of a much larger journey.
And that brings us back to this concept of karma.
Karma.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about punishment or reward. It's about cause and effect.
Yeah. It's a law of nature.
Right. The consequences of our actions shaping our future experience.
Shaping our future.
But how do we know what kind of karma we're creating?
That's the question.
Right. What are we sending forward
into
the future?
Well, the Brahma Sutras talk about the soul taking these subtle elements with it on its journey after death.
Okay.
And these elements, they act as a kind of karmic blueprint that the soul carries with it.
Okay.
And these elements are shaped by our actions, our thoughts, and our intentions in this life.
Okay, so it's like
packing a suitcase.
Packing a suitcase.
For the next leg of the journey.
But instead of clothes and toiletries, we're packing karmic baggage.
We're packing karmic baggage.
And this baggage influences the kind of body that we're born into. Our personality traits, our inclinations.
Our tendencies.
Even the circumstances that we encounter in our next life.
Exactly.
It's a powerful reminder that we're constantly creating our future through our present actions.
Our present moment is shaping our future.
So we're not just victims of circumstance.
We have agency.
We have agency.
We do.
We are active participants.
Active participants.
In shaping our destiny.
Shaping our destiny.
I love that.
It's empowering.
It's empowering.
Yeah.
And the Brahma Sutras emphasize this, right? That we have agency.
We do.
Our choices matter.
They do.
And that by cultivating self-awareness and acting ethically, we can positively shape our future lives.
Absolutely.
And the source material also talked about the soul's journey through the 5 elements.
Yes.
Can you explain what that means?
Of course. So this journey through the elements, ether, air, fire, water, and earth.
Right.
It symbolizes the soul's descent from a state of pure consciousness into the material world.
Okay.
It's a gradual process of embodiment where the soul takes on these increasingly denser forms.
So it's kind of like we're starting from this pure spiritual state.
Yeah, pure consciousness.
And then we're descending
into matter.
Into matter.
Right, like a cosmic ladder.
Like a ladder, going from the spiritual realm down into the physical world.
Exactly.
But this isn't just a one-time event.
No, it's not a one-time thing.
Right.
It happens with each rebirth.
So upon death, the soul ascends.
Back through the elements.
Back through the elements.
Shedding its physical form.
Yeah.
And then it descends again.
It descends again.
Upon entering a new life.
Into a new body.
So it's like this continuous cycle.
It's a cycle.
This dance.
Cosmic dance.
Between the spiritual and material realms.
Exactly.
And this dance is guided by the law of karma.
Of course.
Right. The consequences of our actions.
Our actions have consequences.
Shaping our future experiences.
Yeah, it all comes back around.
It all comes back around.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are active participants.
Yes, we are.
In co-creating our reality.
Absolutely. We're not just passive passengers.
Through our thoughts.
Words and deeds.
Our words and our actions.
Okay, I love that.
It's empowering.
It's very empowering.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to make wise choices.
We do.
Knowing that they're going to shape not only our own journey, but also the world around us.
The world around us.
And the Brahma Sutras teachings on karma and rebirth,
yes,
they encourage us to live consciously.
To live consciously.
To act with compassion and understanding.
Absolutely.
And to strive for a life of purpose and meaning.
Yeah. To make our lives count.
To make our lives count.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to take a little break.
No?
We've covered a lot of ground here in part 2 of our deep dive into the Brahma Sutras.
We have.
We've explored the paths of the soul after death, this concept of karma and rebirth, the soul's journey through the elements.
It's been quite a journey.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
But we'll be back soon to explore the practical implications of these teachings and how we can apply them to our everyday lives.
That's good.
All right, welcome back, everyone, for the final part of our deep dive into the Brahma Sutras.
I'm excited to bring it all together.
Yeah, me too. We've been through a lot, but we really want to make these teachings practical, right? Like, how can we actually apply these ancient ideas to our modern everyday lives?
Well, the Brahma Sutras offer a lot of practical wisdom for navigating the challenges of life and cultivating a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment.
The source material really emphasizes that it's not just for, renunciates or scholars.
It's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Regardless of your background or your circumstances.
And I think one of the most important takeaways for me was this idea of ethical conduct.
Oh, yeah?
Even while pursuing liberation.
Right.
It's not about escaping the world.
No.
It's about engaging with it.
Engaging with it more consciously?
More consciously.
Yeah.
And the Brahma Sutras really stress this point, right?
They do.
That our actions have a direct impact on our spiritual journey.
Yeah. Ethical conduct, or dharma, it's not just about following rules.
Right.
It's about aligning our actions with our understanding of the interconnectedness of all things.
So it's recognizing that ripple effect.
The ripple effect.
Right.
What we do affects others.
Our choices ripple outwards, affecting not just ourselves, but the entire web of existence.
The whole web.
Yeah, and the Brahma Sutras encourage us to cultivate specific virtues.
Yeah, like truthfulness.
Okay.
Nonviolence, compassion, self-control.
Generosity.
Generosity, yeah.
And these aren't just lofty ideals.
No.
These are practical guidelines for living a more balanced and harmonious life.
Absolutely. I think they resonate across cultures and time.
Yeah, they do. It's like a universal language of ethical living.
Yeah, universal language.
And the Brahma Sutras suggest that by embodying these virtues, we not only purify our own minds, but we contribute to a more harmonious world around us.
We make the world a better place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that beautiful cycle of interconnectedness.
It all comes back around.
Yeah, our inner transformation reflects outwards, and our actions in the world can create positive change.
Absolutely. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, and it reminds us that we're not separate from the world.
Right.
We're a part of it.
We're all connected.
And our actions matter.
They do. Every choice we make has an impact.
But the source material also highlighted self-control as being especially crucial for those seeking self-realization.
Oh, absolutely. Self-control, or Dhamma.
Yeah.
It's essential.
And what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, it's about understanding that true happiness and fulfillment, they don't come from chasing those fleeting pleasures.
Okay, so it's not about suppressing our desires altogether.
No, not about suppression.
But about directing them.
Directing them.
Towards a higher purpose.
Towards something more meaningful, more lasting.
And that's where practices like meditation can be so helpful, right?
Yeah, meditation can help us to become more aware of our desires.
Yeah.
To see them more clearly.
Yeah.
And to choose how we respond to them.
So quieting the mind, turning our attention inward.
Yeah, going within.
But how does that actually lead to self-realization?
Right.
Like, what are we looking for?
Yeah, what are we trying to find in that inner journey?
The Brahma Sutras suggest that through consistent meditation and self-reflection, we can begin to disentangle our true nature.
Our true nature.
Our pure awareness.
Yeah, that pure awareness that's always present.
From the layers of conditioning.
Yeah, the conditioning.
The identification.
The identification with our thoughts and emotions.
That cloud our perception.
That cloud our perception, exactly.
It's like peeling back the layers of the ego, revealing the pure awareness that lies at the core of our being.
Beautiful image.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like discovering our true selves.
And this core, our true nature, is described as pure consciousness.
Pure consciousness.
Bliss.
Limitless potential.
Limitless potential, yeah.
That's powerful stuff.
It is powerful. But I think it's important to acknowledge that this process of self-realization can feel daunting at times.
Oh, absolutely. It's a profound undertaking.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people might wonder, like,
yeah,
do I have to go it alone?
Yeah. Do we do this by ourselves?
Is there a role for guidance and support?
Yeah, it's a common question.
And what do the Brahma Sutras say about that?
Well, while the Brahma Sutras emphasize personal effort and self-reflection,
right,
they also recognize the value of seeking guidance from a qualified teacher or guru.
So it's like having a mentor.
Yeah, a mentor.
To help us along the way.
Exactly. Someone who's walked the path before us.
Right. Someone who can offer us insights and support and direction to help us navigate the challenges of the spiritual path.
Absolutely. Because the path can be challenging.
It can be.
And having that support can make all the difference.
What about the role of community?
Well, even though the path of self-realization is ultimately an individual journey, the Brahma Sutras recognize the importance of a supportive spiritual community, surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals who are also on this path. It can provide encouragement, inspiration, and a sense of belonging.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're on this journey, you can feel like you're the only one.
You're the only one going through
it.
Yeah.
And so to connect with others who are also exploring these ideas.
It can be really validating.
It can be really validating. Yeah, and encouraging.
And inspiring, yeah.
So I think it's important to remember that we don't have to do this alone.
We don't.
There are resources available to us. There are teachers, there are communities that can support us on this journey.
Absolutely. And the Brahma Sutras point us in that direction.
They do.
They remind us that we're not alone in this.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into the Brahma Sutras, I just want to say it's been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored so much. So much.
From the nature of Brahman to the soul's journey after death, the concept of karma, the importance of ethical conduct, and the power of self-control.
It's been a whirlwind tour of some profound concepts.
It has been.
Yeah.
But even though we've only scratched the surface of this vast and profound text,
there's always more to explore.
Even a glimpse into its wisdom can offer guidance and inspiration for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. The Brahma Sutras offer a timeless wisdom that's just as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
So we leave you with this thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay.
If the Brahma Sutras suggest that the individual soul is not fundamentally different from Brahman, the ultimate reality, what would it mean for you to experience this unity in your own life?
That's a great question for all of us to reflect on.
And we encourage you to continue exploring the wisdom of the Brahma Sutras and to see how these teachings can guide you on your own path of self-discovery.
Yeah, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.